Bonjour les étudiantes and welcome to this video on the verb prendre. Now this one, as you can see, is actually an verb, and even though it's an verb, this actually is an irregular verb, and I'll show you how. But to make sure we're on the same page, this verb means to take. We'll talk about how it's used in just a couple of minutes. Now first off, let's go ahead and set things up. So we have je, tu, il, nous, vous, et il. Now remember, for this one, elle and on are going to be conjugated the same way, and for il, elle is conjugated the same way. So just keep that in mind as we go along. So at the beginning, on the singular side over here, you're going to see that the verbs are very much like the regular verbs. So, je prends with an S, tu prends with an S, and il prend, no S. Now on this side, the plural side, it gets a little bit different, and this is why it's an irregular. So instead of adding the D back in, we're actually going to drop it as well. So we have prenons. So notice we have the ONS just like normal, but we don't have that D inside of there. Same for vous. Prenez. Easy, no D. And then this one's a little bit different, so pay close attention. We have prennent. But notice we double the N's here. So there's two N's instead of one. This has to do with pronunciation, even though we don't say the ENT, and it also has to do with the beauty of the word too. Remember, the French are all about their language being beautiful. So just to make sure that we're on the same page, we have je prends, tu prends, il prend, nous prenons, vous prenez, il prend. Et voilà, there you go. So in just a second, I'm going to show you a couple of other verbs that go along with the same idea. Now the two verbs that we're going to use most frequently, or at least that you're learning right now, that follow the same rules are apprendre, which is to learn. Notice that it kind of looks like apprehend or something like that, where, you know. And also comprendre, which means to understand or to include. Both of these are conjugated similarly. So for apprehend, let me go ahead and get rid of this real quick. It would look very similar. So it would, however, be a lot like aimer and other ones like that, because it would be je prends avec un S, tu apprends avec un S, il apprend without the S, and then over here, this is where it gets irregular, nous apprenons, the ONS and no D, vous apprenez, no D, and il, avec un S, il apprend. Voilà. So, see how it follows the same pattern. And on this side, we take out the D. On this side, we leave it in. So that's basically how that all works. Now the first rule is a pretty simple one, and it goes with apprendre. And with that, anytime that you're using an infinitive, which is a non-conjugated verb, right after this word, you need to add a. So let me give you an example. If I were asking somebody if they know how to ski, one of the ways I could ask them is like this. Apprenez-vous à ski? So notice I'm just using the usual inversion here. So instead of vous apprenez à ski. It's apprenez-vous à ski. But notice that I've added this à in between this part and this part. Now, to help you understand a little bit better, let me show you what you could respond with. So if I did know how to ski, what I could say is, j'apprends, remember with that S, à ski. Or, since in real life I have no idea how to ski, I could say, je n'apprends pas à ski. So notice in all of these cases though, we have the à right here between the verb and the infinitive that follows it. So that's just one of the many rules to keep in mind, one of the little nuances that we remember to do in French. Now the very last thing that I want to show you are some common expressions that we use with prendre, which was that first one, to take. Now these include, of course they're not limited to, but these are the major ones that have to do with what we're talking about, this unit. So you can prendre du temps, so that means to take a long time, du temps, because remember temps means time, or it also can mean the weather and temperature as well. You can prendre son temps, which means to take your time. Notice that we have your, or take one's time. So this is his time. Or if I'm like, hey, you're taking your time, it would be ton temps. I'm taking my time, mon temps. They're taking their time, le temps. They all works the same way. And there's no room for the S. There it is. So it's all basically the same, but that's how that works. You can also, when you're eating, you don't eat a meal, you take a meal. So, prendre un repas. So, you're having a meal. So that also means that you can do it like this. You can prendre le petit déjeuner. Let me make sure I spell that right. That's it. There we go. So I could say something like, je prends le petit déjeuner, which is actually something that I did not too long ago before making this video. And that's how it would look. So those are some other ways that we can use it. It comes in handy, especially if your friends are taking their jolly good time. You can now tell them, you know, you could say something like, tu prends ton temps. You take your time. And you could mean it either seriously or like, come on, hurry up. So anyways, there you go. Everything in a nutshell that you need to know about these verbs. So if you have any questions or need any help, just let me know. Have a wonderful day, guys.